Radio.
All right, go ahead.
Hi, guys. This is NPC Radio. I'm Brad, and this is Jake.
I'm Jake.
So today our topics of discussion, we're just, talking about what life is and the NPC life
Yeah,
is, and how
which we are
we are.
not. Yeah, we're not a part of it. I would.
Right,
I would like to think we are.
right, right.
Uh,
Anyway,
we chose NPC like kind of ironically, and like Brad really just about 10 minutes ago decided to put the question mark in there. Because we would like people to question whether or not they're an NPC, and to be honest, if you have to think about it, might be one.
right. So what an NPC is someone who basically goes through life without asking any questions, just obediently following, not exactly following the rules, but just going through the
They just
motions of
are.
life. Yes, there's no ambition, there's no purpose, there's no questioning of why we're here, or the things that explain it. There's no questioning
They live in a very small box,
right,
and they're comfortable with
very
that box. They are very content with that box.
right, and we're not the NPCs. We see through it, or we'd like to think that. So, this is our little podcast for that.
The first time we're gonna, I mean, we don't really have a direction that we're gonna take this in. We were talking about what way we wanted to, but to be honest, I think we're just gonna do it and talk, and then eventually we're gonna find out which way we want to take it. I think it'll just come like organically.
Yeah, but today we're gonna start with a couple things of discussion, I guess, just to lead us somewhere. And Jake, you wanted to talk about the four questions,
Yeah. So
four agreements.
yeah, so I read this book. It's been a while. It's called The Four Agreements. I was like super. There was a time where I was just like super depressed and really had no idea. Like I had tried everything to cure my depression, and it was just constant. And so found this book, read it, and I tried to like apply it to my everyday life. And like no bullshit, it really did make me a much happier person. Like I'm not gonna say it was instant or whatever, because I mean nothing is really instant. But once you start to apply each of the four agreements to basically everything in your life, which is not hard. That kind of sounds difficult, but it's not. It's a really easy thing to do because they're so vague. Like you can, it has to be vague in order to apply it to every aspect of your life.
Right, right, right. So, what's the first of the four agreements?
The first is you have to be impeccable with your word, and
So,
that kind of
how did that
means,
impact you?
um, I mean, you could take that for what it is, honestly, and just say, um, you know, be like George Washington, or who was it that didn't tell a lie? Honest Abe.
Abe Lincoln. You
George
say?
Washington didn't tell lies either, though, did he?
I I don't know,
Well,
but it was Lincoln that's known for it.
yeah. Anyways, I mean, you shouldn't lie. But there's
Right.
also a difference between like lying and uh, I don't know, petty little things that like I make jokes that could be could be confused with a lie or whatever. But I say it in a
For
joking
example,
manner.
like what? Like
Uh,
what?
I don't know actually. Like if not
Very
a,
insightful.
yeah, I'm trying to explain. Uh, like if I were just making a joke about any subject,
Hmm.
like I mean I can't really, and it obviously was a lie. But anyways, be impeccable with your words. Do you say you're gonna do it? Do it. Hold yourself accountable for everything. You know.
Hmm. Right.
and don't
I
lie.
think I think yeah, that really to me is what it comes down to is
Mhm,
accountability. I feel like
mhm.
accountability is what that is the crux of what they're saying. Um, the thing about being impeccable with your word is like, I guess your word is what you carry with you throughout life. It's really the only thing you have
It is, yeah,
that to tie you to the greater world. And if your word is bad, then people will know you for that.
yeah,
You will
and
always be what your word is.
nobody likes a liar,
Right.
especially
And nobody
if
likes people
there's
who cannot commit to something no matter what. I mean,
yeah, that's
you
yeah,
have to you have to have a certain level of commitment to
commitment, yeah,
something.
mhm,
But at the same token, um commitment is commitment's difficult. Commitment is
think
it's not
commitment is
just
difficult, or do you think
yeah.
that, um
Yeah, because commitment is much deeper than just saying you'll do something. Commitment is whenever you're alone and it's just you.
right?
And let's say you're in your kitchen, you're weightlifting or you're running or whatever,
Mhm,
and you're trying to better your goals. You're trying to become a better runner. You're trying to become a bigger lifter. You're trying to gain size and get poundage. Uh, the only person that is there to make you eat the right things, to make you go to the gym every day is you. At the end of the
mhm.
day,
It's
you're the one who
always you.
determines.
It's
Yeah,
always just you, to be frank, you know?
hmm you're the one who determines where you are in life and in the position you'll be in. So I think a lot of when you accept that as not just um I think as when you accept that as a responsibility as a person and as a human being, then you're gonna find better results.
Yeah,
Not even results. You're just gonna have a better life. Better people are gonna treat you better because you treat them better. You're gonna feel better because of the way they treat you and the way you treat them. Um, and I think that's important.
it is. Yeah. I like you said earlier, like, accountability, I think
hmm
not even necessarily not just accountability, but, a commitment to, like you said earlier.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, commitments don't have to be
They don't
for
have to be
like
lifelong. Yeah.
and it's not even like that. To me, it's like it doesn't have to be what everyone approves of. It just has to be
You have
something
to
that
approve
makes
of it.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
have to
obviously,
be
you have to be able to tell right from wrong, like,
right.
you can't
But
go out here killing people and say, "I approve of this."
right, but it comes down to you determining what is most important in your life and prioritizing the things that are most important in your life
Mhm.
and to correctly determine what's the most important thing in your life. And for example, if you have kids, and you
That's
or
a
the
commitment.
decision to have kids, yeah, the decision to
That's
have kids,
accountability, yeah.
it is accountability.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of the reasons that a lot of people our age don't have kids right now is because maybe not even a lack of accountability, but because um the having kids would take away from things that we could have, things that we could commit to, that we have to do to make our lives work.
Mhm.
I don't think kids
So,
are
are you anti-kids?
no, no.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I think
Okay.
society right now is not really American society is not really built for kids right now. It's not. I mean, you have a choice of you have to spend your life raising your kids, or
Mm,
you can spend your life enriching yourself. Versus some other countries where you can do both, or you don't have to do,
so you think
or
it's
you don't have to
hard in
worry
America
about.
to do both?
Yeah, I think absolutely it's hard. I think for a lot of people the deck is stacked against them, and I
Hmm.
think kids in America are um, treated more as a burden by the systems in place than anything else. Um, it's they're used as like a symbol to get behind, but whenever you actually look at the numbers or where the money is going or where the changes are going, it's usually not to help kids or to help people or something like that. I mean, I
I
don't
think
know
I
where I'm
think
going with this.
I think I understand what you're trying to get. I think you're trying to say that um, America doesn't
So like
do
the
anything for or doesn't try to help the youth or something. I don't know.
well, it's not even
I
that.
I, I
Yeah,
don't
I
I don't even
suppose
know.
so. To an extent,
I don't know
yeah.
where
I
you were
think
going
that
with that.
I think that it's kind of like it's hard for our kids for the young generations of today to have kids. I think that's basically what I'm trying to say. It's you either you have to make a choice. Do you want to have a happy life raising kids, or do you want to have a chance to pursue your dreams? You know, and that's the thing. Like
Both of yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, uh, like older generations, some of them they didn't have the things that we have. They didn't have options. They didn't have college or scholarships or anything. They didn't have ways to afford to get in. Like, I mean, you had you had a lot of people that did, and those people ended up getting very rich and having generational wealth. But everyone else, I mean, just kind of slowly advanced up with it. And I don't know, like I think labor, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It's all good.
Anyway,
It's all good. All right, all right,
anyway,
all right.
I'm rambling.
Second agreement. You ready?
Second agreement.
Yep. Second agreement is to not take anything personally.
Mm,
So the way I took that agreement was say, and this is probably the one that I struggle with the most, to be honest with. To be honest with you, don't take anything personally is kind of saying like, okay, so like for example, I I'm an MA, so like I triage patients and do like I have a lot of human interaction, right?
hmm
Um, sometimes patients are just shit to me. You know what I'm saying? They're just rude and don't give a fuck that you're trying to help them or whatever it may be. But this is saying if they are doing that to you, don't take it personally because, and this is a cliche saying, but you don't know what has happened to them. You don't know their history. There may be a reason that they're like this. They may have just had a shit day. Someone may have just died in their family. You know, there's not always going to be a reason, but sometimes there is. So don't take it personal. Not towards you. You don't know this person.
I agree 100%.
Hmm.
I think you nailed it on the head. Um, yeah, and whenever you take things personal, it just leads to
Internal damage, I
animosity.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, you hurt yourself more
Hmm.
you than anything, and I think that's something I've really struggled with. I've had to make myself aware of when I'm doing it, and trying to
It's
just
hard, dude.
say, "Hey, yeah," because you try to rationalize things, but some things you just you can't just rationalize things. You can't I don't know. You can't
Yeah,
rationalize everything. So you just got
you
to let
can't.
things go.
Exactly, exactly. That, yeah. You are going, and now that I think about it, and then now that you mention that, I do that a lot. That's almost one of my biggest flaws is I dig too deep. I try to rationalize everything. I try
hmm
to say, all right, why am I I need to know why I'm doing this. I need to know who I'm doing this for, if I'm doing it for anybody, if not for myself, you know?
Right.
And that actually fucking impedes me a lot because it's like once I start or like learn something new, I have I do that. instead of just taking things for what they are, you know? And sometimes
Mhm.
that's the easiest and best route is to just take things for what they are, I believe.
Right.
Sometimes you got to dig because if not, you're going to let people just walk all over you.
Right. I agree.
Or you're not going to make the best decisions.
Yeah, but at the same time, you need input to make good decisions too. So
Dude,
you
that's what
have to be,
that's why I'm saying you have to sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
But that's why it's important not to take things personally because whenever you acquire input, you have to be able to be objective.
Yes, that's funny that you say that because it doesn't really mention that in this little whatever you want to say, this little summary of the four agreements. But in this book, it talks a lot about watching your thinker, and that means to be instantly aware. And this is really fucking hard too. But to be instantly aware of how you feel, and to be able to take yourself away in a third person view, so to speak, and look at why you felt like that at that time,
Mhm.
which is really hard.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, and I've found that's a really easy way to battle my depression. To really pull myself away from everything, and you know,
Yeah.
ask myself, why am I feeling like shit right now?
Yeah, and I think that whenever you ask yourself that question, you can face it head on. You could be like, okay, well, if I feel like shit because I'm not going outside enough, or I feel like I'm lonely, then you could start being like trying to expand your social circle and you go out more, do things to address that, you know? Or you feel like you're not physically active enough, you can be like, well, I'll just start working out, or I'll start going for walks. You don't even have to go on a full workout routine. You can
Hmm.
just start doing those little adjustments every day to that will eventually lead into big adjustments.
Yeah, that's it. It's one step. It's
Hmm.
like a snowball effect.
Hmm.
You have to find momentum.
Yeah, I
Tommy
used to
said,
run.
Tommy said, but would it be better to not let people run you over and you act out, or you always be the better person so that you're an example?
Hmm.
Wait, I don't.
That's a great idea.
I'm not
He's
sure.
saying be the better person in all circumstances, a way you can be an example for other people.
Yeah,
I think that's important too, because
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why you can't take anything personally. I mean, that you have to not be able to take anything personally so you can be the better person and the bigger person, you know? Like you can't be the bigger and the better person if you cop an attitude with the first dude that talks shit to you. You know what I mean? You took it way too personal, you know?
yeah, I've done that before, and it's backfired several times. But
Yeah. I'm guilty of that too, dude. I'm sure everyone is.
well, I've yet to learn my lesson fully, but I'm sure I'll get humbled one day. Anyway,
Anyway, okay, so then it's uh don't make assumptions.
don't make assumptions.
Hmm. Which is
Yeah.
kind of like uh goes back to what I was saying about uh like if a for example the example I gave earlier, if a patient is talking shit or whatever, you know, um like don't make that assumption that they're just a shit person,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. 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 And I think, well, yeah, I think it kind of ties back into um, don't take things personally. Like that's how things are. That's how you interpret things. Don't how you interpret things. This is more of how you present yourself. I think it's like don't make assumptions. Don't presume that they're going through, or that they just don't like you, or that you're really good at what you should do, or that anything. Don't make assumptions that you know
About
everything,
yeah,
or
yeah.
well,
I agree.
yeah.
Hmm.
I think
Like
you can push that in multiple directions too.
yeah.
Like,
Like if you
um,
see like if you see a guy or a girl or if you see anyone that you just like you can't be so quick to be like, oh, that's just one of like you can't be so quick to I guess stereotype them and like
mhm,
categorize them, you know.
mhm. Yeah, because you never know what they're going through,
Hmm.
and ties back into like what we said. You just never know. You never know. So don't make assumptions.
And
Really.
I feel like you could kind of take that um I'm kind of thinking about how it would work actually.
Well, let's tie it back to something else. Let's push this in a different direction. Because I've had this too. I've had this discussion too. Like, there
What's
was this one
what discussion?
chick, and like, don't make assumptions. This is something to tie back into confidence.
Mm,
Uh, like for example, never sell yourself short. You know, I didn't realize that people were very attract. Like, well, there was more people attracted to me in high school than there was, but I didn't realize that at all.
you
I
mean
was very
sexually? Because
shy.
I was, dude.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, like I guess like I was far more of that, and I didn't realize that until much, much later. When people were starting to tell me that, like they would just tell me like, "Oh yeah, I thought you were so cute back then." I was like, "Well, why didn't you just say that?" And then it ties back into what I'm saying is like, well, I just assumed that they didn't like me. And I never went up to them because I was shy and I just didn't, you know.
Mhm.
But it was not that way. And
I
yeah, I
was,
think once you realize things like that, you should just really you could really try to push the boundaries of not like break the rules, but just push your boundaries. Like go up and talk to people, be like, hey, maybe not like, hey, you want to go out, like right when you meet them or anything, but like, hey, just strike up a conversation and try to get to know them a little bit, see what they're like.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Because
I feel like. Do you think that you're good at reading emotions and uh, or just reading people?
yes and no. There are some people that it takes a while to figure them out.
Mhm.
But
Those are
some
the interesting
people,
ones, though.
they can be very mischievous.
Hmm.
But at the same token, there's a lot of people that are I don't know. You can they're very face value.
They're transparent.
Well, yeah, and well, NPCs.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they just
That's
go through
so.
the motions, man.
If anybody doesn't know what an NPC is, an NPC. Did we explain this
We
already?
did, we did explain it.
Well,
It's
I'm gonna
the
fucking
people
do
go
it
through the
again.
motion.
I'm gonna fucking do it again.
All right.
Yeah, it's somebody that just goes through the motions, man. You're just there. You're just existing. You have no there's no you have no higher interest in anything. Like now I'm remembering this now. I remember I said this now. Like I said earlier, just in a box. You're in a very enclosed box. You don't want to venture out into it. You don't care what's outside of the box. I think there's people that think there's nothing outside of the box.
I'm sure there is. That's kind of depressing, but yeah,
I think those are like atheists, right?
that is atheist. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of yeah. What do you have a religion?
Uh, it's very complicated for me.
Yeah, I think that might be that could be like a whole different episode.
That really could. That's
Yeah,
a whole different discussion. That's a
yeah,
whole different.
yeah. Well, another day we'll talk about God and
Yeah,
religion.
that's. Well, existence
I think
entirely.
so.
It's.
I go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, like the
Existence?
concept of it just of existence of conscience of
Just
it
conscious.
just
Consciousness.
yeah, consciousness is
That
like
is
that
existing.
can be a whole discussion of
Mhm.
itself. I
We
mean,
gotta stop because we're gonna start going down it, man. We gotta
yeah,
we gotta reel it back in.
right. What's the fourth one?
But
What's the fourth
but
agreement?
wait, before we move, um, whenever we do talk about that, you gotta get Tommy on here. I had a discussion like this with him one night, and it was one of the best. It wasn't even really a debate because I wasn't debating. I was questioning,
Mhm,
you know, and he was happy to explain it to me. Him and Kirsten, like they didn't take it any type of way, you know.
mhm. What's the fourth agreement?
The fourth agreement is to always do your best. That sounds cliche as hell, but if you're gonna do something, fucking do it.
Yeah, I
Don't
agree.
half-ass it, you know.
Well, there's some things that I do my best. Well, here's the thing. Like
Hmm.
there are, like for example, games.
Hmm.
Like I totally just total. I don't. I
That's
approach
that.
games as a leisurely activity. I don't
That's
want to be the
different, yeah.
best, but I do want to beat. I want to beat the game. I want to be good enough to beat the game. That's all I care about. Or I want to be good enough to be competitive. Not like super competitive on like a pro level or like on a ranked level, but just enough that I can probably hold my own in a game. That's it. That's all I
Practice
care about.
just
Yeah.
takes
I,
practice.
but there are other
You're
things like
more you're more of like a story video. Like you like. I mean, you do play COD, but I think you're more of like a campaign player.
oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I'm definitely in it for campaigns. Like to me, like the game is like an art form. It's an art form.
Mhm.
It definitely is. It's an interactive art form. But instead of it's different than any other art form because you are the main character. It's not like you see the perspective of a certain character and that from a book or from a movie, you are that character. Your actions determine the fate of the game. You know, you either win or it's game over. You know, that's the appeal of the game. And once you beat it, like for example, like a game like The Last of Us, that's something that transcends being just a fun game. It's a story. It's a cinematic. It's an
Mhm.
epic story of like a
There's
tale
a development.
of yeah of like love
Yeah.
and care and protection and
Yeah, you grow attached to these characters.
yeah, exactly, in a
Mhm.
different way. So
Yeah.
I that's why I like single player games. I feel like you can do that and you can't do that in any other art form. I think it's very unique and special in that regard. I think that it's getting better. I think it's getting better. I think games are getting more interactive. I think that it's to the point
You think
that
VR do you think
VR,
VR do you
yes.
think
I
it
was actually what I was about to say.
do you
Yes,
think
VR is the future.
do you think it's gonna be the future, or do you think
It
that
absolutely.
people see, I've always thought that, like, VR is cool, dude, and, like, it's dope, you know? But it requires some setup. You gotta do some things, you know?
Yeah,
And
so there's three things that they have to really address with VR.
mhm,
One is motion sickness. They're gonna have to figure out
yeah,
some way to get lights in there that are full color without getting motion sickness or the VR headaches that you get from looking at a screen so close. And it's probably gonna start causing some issues with vision if they use it for too long. Let's say if they use it in the military, like there are certain applications that VR would absolutely be phenomenal for, and combat training
yep.
like that
I
would
feel like
be
that kind of already exists with, I don't know if there's any combat drones or anything, but that's how
possibly. I mean that's a whole different. That's probably in conspiracy theory land. That's like black ops shit that we just. If it exists,
What?
then it's not public knowledge probably.
No,
And if it
you just
is,
like wait. What do you?
I'm talking like if we could, if
Maybe
you like,
maybe
let's
I'm
say you.
misunderstanding what you're
All right, let's
explaining right now.
say okay, like I'm talking about like the application of VR for the future. Like for
Hmm.
that, that's a very interesting concept because um, let's say you run a simulation. Like for example, Navy SEALs, they are famously known for whenever they raided Bin Laden's facility
Hmm.
that they ran like
Killed him.
they had like a yeah, that too, but they had a practice facility that was an exact replica of what they were going to go into, so they knew every room, the layout, what
I
was
think
going
I
to be
did see that
there.
somewhere. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so they ran them through that several, I mean, dozens, probably hundreds of times. Who knows how many times they went through that thing till they got it perfect. And when it happened, they had zero casualties, zero, or that's what they say. We never like that's a
Except
highly
for Bin
classified.
Laden.
Yeah, but as far as we know, like that,
Yeah.
that is what happened. And
They did their
I think
best.
VR could replace things like that. That's a multi-million dollar facility, which at that point, fuck it. They
So,
probably don't care, but VR could easily mitigate costs like that because if you set it up, I mean, whenever you talk about the military, you have basically unlimited funding. And instead of a VR headset that you're using for fucking Steam, you could use one that is specifically
what would it control?
created for specific. I mean, it could be anything. It's specifically made for the combat simulations that like for those
Oh,
facilities. They can program
okay.
them
I
to
understand.
where yeah,
Like,
you have
and I see what you're saying. I think.
yeah, I think that would be a perfect application for VR
Hmm.
in a military role.
Have you seen or read about uh what is Mark Zuckerberg's
Oh, the
thing
fucking
metaverse?
metaverse.
Yeah. Have you seen or like watched anything about that?
I have, and here's the thing. Like here's what I was going to get to. That's just the first problem with VR. The second problem with VR is that it is so cost prohibitive. And like the fucking average VR headset is like the low end one, even for consoles, is like $500.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if it will ever like replace mouse and keyboard or controller, like
So and
digital, or whatever you want to
they
say,
they would
manual
have to
input.
probably bring that price point down to like $200 to $100.
Yep.
And to do that, it's probably going to take a very long time
Dude, people
to
buy
get to
five, six
where.
hundred dollar Xboxes and PlayStations.
Yeah, but that's like that's an accepted form of art, just culturally. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like VR is not integrated in the culture yet because of these three reasons. It's the cost prohibitive reason.
Yep.
It's the other reason I just gave, and um, the health reason, and then the actual
Yeah, motion sickness.
the application of it. Like it's hard to use VR.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
hard to
practical.
program things. Is yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's going to take a ton of manpower that just doesn't exist yet to make it operate. And so you could do it for like small things, like a game that has one like it's static, it doesn't change. But things like a metaverse or where like to where you can
I think
like integrating it into like Google Earth or
that's like
something
that's
like
like
that would
that's
be.
more like that's not VR. What's that?
It's like a social hub.
Yeah, but what? It's not VR. What's the acronym I'm thinking of? Uh it's like what Pokemon. It's like Pokemon Go and this dragon game that I have. Shit.
What?
Uh, it's like it's integrated into real life. Like it interacts with
Augmented
real
reality.
yes, augmented reality. AR.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
like
another thing. That's what they try to do with Google Glass.
mhm.
but that project fell through because
I don't think the technology is quite there yet.
no, because it's light's hard to bend.
Mhm.
It's you can't. Well, you can't. Well, I mean, you can, but
Yeah, yeah.
you can't do it. You can't make a hologram, like they
Accurately?
want. I mean, I mean, you can't make a hologram like on appear. Yeah, accurately. I mean, you can make it appear on a lens,
Right.
but to
You
make
can't
it
project
distorted
it?
to where it look, yeah, to
Yeah.
make it look like it's projected somewhere, you're gonna need equipment in that house, like to look at, and then it appears on the lens as you look at it. But like
Mhm. Do you remember
that's
that
not true
video?
augmented reality.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's not augmented reality. That's yeah, that's just like a hologram.
Well,
Um,
it's not mobile. It's not true as in
interactive?
no, what I'm saying is you can't once you leave that building, it doesn't exist anymore. You can't use it outside of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So
Yep.
you're tethered to wherever
Right, right,
that
right.
place is because
Mhm.
you have to have something to generate that hologram to see it with that equipment. And I think that's what the problem is. I mean, like with that kind of technology, I think unless you have kind of society integrated, like to where it's integrated into society, you won't really have VR mainstream. But
What are you
as
eating?
it's okay,
It's
as
okay.
mhm,
Is okay
as
good?
an art form, yeah, it's good.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's as an art form, as 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 like a niche thing, I could definitely see it progressing into where games are going. That's where it'll evolve. But to this metaverse shit, Google Glass, like that's fucking science fiction. Like at least at this point in history. Like I don't think that we're gonna see that in our lifetime. I mean, we can't even get fucking electric
You don't think
cars
so?
because people don't want to put in
Yeah, that yeah. Uh,
batteries in the South. I mean, people are just stupid right now.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
if
maybe not just stupid, but they just aren't on board with it. I
yeah,
wouldn't say I was stupid.
like uneducated maybe
I wouldn't
or
even say uneducated,
uninformed.
but they're just not on board. You
But why do you think the majority of people aren't on board?
That's a complicated question. Very complicated answer. I mean, cultural reasons, religious reasons, economic reasons, personal reasons. I mean, there's a laundry list of things that they could go down, and it differs for every person. Every scenario.
Hmm,
But
that
anyway,
raspberry Kool-Aid, that blueberry Kool-Aid,
nah, it's just water, high
ooh,
quality
look,
H2O.
like stuff that uh, Bobby Boucher drank.
Yeah, Bobby ain't got shit on me.
Fuck Bobby, man.
Bobby, Bobby. Anyway, you want to wrap this up? I think that's a lot that we covered today.
Yeah. But yeah, the in a different. I don't know when we're gonna do this or when we're gonna like if we want to have a consistent schedule. You know, maybe what is today? Thursday. Maybe we could try to do it like maybe if not every day, like on the same day of each week, at least the same amount of times.
Same time slot. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk about this post episode.
All right, but next time I don't we may talk about we might have Tommy Davis on here. Talk about religion, you know.
Mr. Tommy
Mr.
Davis.
Tommy Davis, he might be the special guest.